Hello, everybody. How are you? And very shortly, my beautiful friend Ali and Rose will be joining me. Hello, gorgeous girls. How are you?
We're very good for it today.
We're pretty excited here in South Australia because the weather is starting to warm up. How's the weather in Tasmania, Rose?
It's beautiful today. Yeah, it's sunny and a little bit cloudy, but yeah, warm. It's a whole 13 degrees. It's a heat wave.
That's a heat wave for Tasmania. We love it down there. And soon we'll be coming to visit because the borders have opened. Woo! That's so exciting. Things are light. They're getting back to the new normal. Welcome to the Healing Through Love show. We're here to increase awareness within the community about providing families and domestic violence survivors with a soft place to land and to offer advice on services available to these survivors and their families.
And we have many local businesses and service people who generously pay it forward at our Pamper Day events and provide their time generously and their resources so we can help survivors have a great day.
Yes, and each week on the Healing Through Love show, we interview a couple of these wonderful supporters of our Pamper Days and of Healing Through Love to learn more about themselves in their personal journeys, their businesses, and why they're supporting Healing Through Love to assist survivors.
Excellent. Now, my beautiful friends, Ali and Rose, are going to sort of slip away, but they'll be back because we're going to talk to you about our upcoming event in May. Rose is going to be doing all of the admin behind the scenes, and Ali is going to jump into the chat and have a conversation. Now, ordinarily, we have normally we have two guests. Today, one of our guests is having a few technical issues, so we're going to perhaps have a plan A and a plan B today, so we'll see how it works. So first of all, we have Cynthia Stone, and if we're very lucky, we'll have Jennifer Sharp join us as soon as she's ironed out her technical issues. Okay, so Cynthia Stone has an honorary doctorate and a distinction awarded upon her for serving others. This mission to serve others has taken her from the ghettos to all places, and she's also, in addition to that, she's got an honorary doctorate. She holds a master's degree in social work and a bachelor's degree in science, and the two diploma and one in community work. So we're going to ask her all about that and what she does in her space. Now, I understand that she's an NLP practitioner, which is very exciting. She's going to talk in everything around mindset today. So hello, Cynthia, how are you?
Hello, I'm amazing. How are you?
Well, I'm magnificently magnificent. Thank you for asking.
Too blessed to be stressed. Here we go.
I love it. Now, Cynthia, there's a little delay, and the reason for the delay, guys, is that Cynthia's chiming in from where? Can you share with the group who you're chiming in from where?
Yes, I am in Ontario, Canada, Windsor to be exact.
A beautiful place to be. I do remember visiting Whistler's. It was divine and almost didn't come home. It was that amazing. I was actually looking for a job and a place to live, so I almost didn't come home. Canada is a beautiful place. I love the fact that everyone loves dogs there. I'm a dog lover. It's great to live in a country where everyone loves dogs. No, right? So, Cynthia, tell us a little bit about you and your practice and how you serve.
Absolutely. Well, it is such an honor to be on this platform. I'm all about raising the vibration of love on the planet. I realized from a young age I was very different than other people. I was an empath. I didn't even know what an empath was, but I noticed that when I walked into a room, if somebody was feeling really low, all of a sudden I would feel really deep for no reason and just tapping into people's feelings. That kind of led me into a healing profession, recognizing that I have this big heart for a reason. I might as well do something with it. And so I ended up wanting to work with the people that nobody wanted to work with. So that led me from, the ghettos to all over, as you had noted. So I worked with the homeless, I worked with prostitutes, I worked with child molesters, like you name it, like the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst, recognizing that these people are all of God's children and they need love just as much as anyone else. So I wanted to be the love to serve. And I recognized after pouring myself into these individuals that I have, something that I'm supposed to do that's beyond one-to-one. Now, as great as it is doing the social work and doing one-to-one, I ended up like praying, like, okay, I am falling to pieces. I'm pouring into people that I've actually checked out. If you've ever met people that are just kind of like on a slow form of suicide, you know, they're just going through the motions, they're not really embracing life. Well, that's kind of what I was dealing with there, and recognizing that I need to do more than this. And so when I prayed and handed it over to that higher power, I ended up going to the homeless, and they told me, you belong in Hollywood. So that prompted a whole different career direction. But again, with the message of helping and healing humanity. And so after that, I ended up doing speaking, and I ended up writing a book. And now I am a speaker, trainer, mentor, a social worker, and just a huge advocate for helping humanity.
Oh, I love it, Cynthia. That is so beautiful. You are a woman after my own heart. We speak the same language. We're on the same mission. We're doing the same work. And it's wonderful to have another light worker in this space. And we're on opposite ends of the globe. So together we can raise the frequency and we'll just shift the entire planet. It's beautiful. So a lot of our listeners have either experienced or have family members who have experienced challenges in the DV space. And so I'd love to know, have you got some gentle advice you can help the people that are supporting people in this place? Because it can be frustrating for them. They see these challenges, they want to intervene. The person that's in that space isn't necessarily ready to move on. Can you give some advice to the people that support the people that are in this place?
Absolutely. I would say that it really comes down to loving without conditions. Unconditional love is just that, where you pour into someone and it's like planting a seed. And sometimes the seed takes a while. Like if you talk to any farmers, they recognize there are different seasons. And sometimes you have a rainy season, sometimes you have a drought. So it's just about taking the time to pour into that individual, to let them know that you're there for them. The best thing we can do is be like a bra, really lift them up and give them the right support. And it's recognizing that, it's not always going to happen the way we want it to. And that's okay, because when we push to have our agenda, that's a form of control. So it's about pulling back and allowing somebody to take the space. Just as a baby learns to walk at their own pace, so too do people go along their own journey. And the most important thing to do is to let them know that you're there for them, that you love them, that you support them unconditionally. And when they're ready, you'll be there to hold their hand.
That's such beautiful advice and so spot on. Okay, now for people that are going through the process themselves, people that are either in a family violence situation or a domestic violence situation, we do have a lot of listeners in that space. Could you give some advice for them in that space?
Absolutely. I recognize that when I was in that space myself, the biggest abuser in my life was myself. That no external abuser was ever as bad as what I did to myself. So the first thing to do is to start loving ourselves, to start recognizing that we are a divine masterpiece because we have a piece of the master within us. When we start recognizing our worth, our value, that allows us to step into our power and recognize you are not powerless, that there is a support network for you and you do not have to endure. Everything comes down to a choice. You are choosing right now to stay in a situation that perhaps you feel you deserve in some way. But I'm here to tell you that you are loved and you are loved, and you never need to take it. It's all about coming down to choosing the life you want and recognizing if you have children in this situation, for example, what kind of a message are you sending to them? We must be the strength that we have within us. We are not meant to be tortured. We are not meant to be imprisoned, that we can really choose freedom. We can choose something more. And this network, these beautiful individuals here, we've all come from a place of love. And we recognize that these journeys happen for a reason, but they don't have to define us. They don't have to limit us. And just as photography, we can develop from the negatives. That just because you have been hurt doesn't mean you have to hurt anymore. You can choose something different. If not for you, do it for your children. If not for your children, do it for the next generation. Whatever it is, find your why and follow it. and recognize that you are never alone.
I love that. That's such sound advice. Could we give them some practical tips that they could do on a daily basis to help them see themselves in that different light so they can shine?
Absolutely. I would say it comes down to recognizing that you are a child of the divine. And what I mean by that is when you start looking at yourself as not a mistake, you are here for a reason, that every person that has come to this world is here for a bigger reason than they even know. So it starts with mirror work. I would say start looking at yourself and seeing yourself as the mother to yourself. What would you say to the child within you, one that has been hurt? Hurt people hurt people. You can now be the change. You can start talking to that child. And I even named mine. I called mine Little. And I started talking to Little and helping her to see her beauty, to see her divinity, to see her wisdom, to recognize that you have something that's larger than yourself and that your mess can become your message. So I would say start honoring that child within. There is a part of you that is not living as you want to live. So start listening to that inner voice. Start recognizing that you can do little things every single day that bring that child within you joy. And really start looking every day in the mirror and saying three simple words: I love you. I love you. I love you. It's so powerful. Three words can transform. You can transform your trauma. You can turn your triumph. You can turn your trauma into triumph. You can turn your story into glory. You can hand your issues into the tissues and cry it out. Spend time in nature. Just be with that, with your feet on the earth. When you feel those negative ions pouring into you, there's something that transformational that happens. Start reaching out to people in your community. Very often, when we are abused, we are isolated. So start reaching out to people, even if it's strangers. Just the beauty of this whole technological world right now is you don't even have to meet somebody in person. You can do it online. You can talk to someone. You can go on a Zoom, whatever it needs. But do not suffer in silence. Do not suffer alone. Whole network out there that is there to bring unity to this community.
I love it. I love it. Three very solid pieces of feedback here, guys. Feedback that can make a difference. So first of all, starting with that mirror work, which, as Cynthia's mentioned, it's as simple as looking into the mirror and telling yourself that you love yourself. Now, I know the very first time I started that, I couldn't even keep eye contact with myself. And then when I managed to do that, I cried. And now, don't laugh, guys. And this is going to give you a visual. I do it completely naked in the mirror, and I tell all of my body parts I love them. So you probably want to know that if you're ever sleeping over. Just saying. And then number two, Cynthia said, talking about being in nature and that whole process of grounding. So literally taking your shoes off, having your feet on the ground and hugging a tree. It is so healing. And then the last one she mentioned there is reaching out. And it just comes to speaking to anyone. That's the lady that's standing in the shopping center queue. You know, reach out to other people. Humans are designed for connection. Three solid pieces of information here, guys. Three solid pieces of advice that can really change the way that you're looking at your current situation. Cynthia, that's fantastic. Now, notice that you're NLP. I love NLP. It's one of my favorites. Could you help us a little bit in that space with people that are listening? Some advice for just maybe everybody, not necessarily people that are survivors, about what they can do in the space of lifting their awareness in and around the language that they use and how that's holding them in their spaces.
Absolutely. I mean, words are so powerful, and just how we describe ourselves. Very often we have very negative kind of limiting beliefs that are holding us trapped into a certain section in time. So, for example, for myself, I noticed that I had a lack of confidence, a huge fear around singing in public, of all things, you know, like if you're going to talk about just anything that's holding you back. And so as an actress, because I also do that, I found that that was something that was really holding me back. And it stemmed back to a trauma that had happened when I had sang in front of people and it didn't go that well. And I held that pain within me, and it caused me to freeze and to cry and not even want to try. And I remember when I had to do an album with somebody, and even though I sing in my speech all the time, when it came to actually doing that, I couldn't go through with it. And I had to be given, I think it was whiskey or something to calm down. And I was just like not having it. It just did not work out. So what I is that somebody had showed me an NLP anchor that I could do, which actually had me go back to that place, that time where the trauma had happened, and to actually replay that in a different set. What if it had happened differently? What were they like? Because a lot of times what happens is, as children, because that's what it was, I was a child, and I had actually seen the reaction. I had taken it that I was no good because they didn't respond in a way that had shown me that they appreciated it. But in reality, what happens is, what does it look like? What does love look like? What does, you know, actually appreciating it look like? So when you start stepping into that and realizing these were people that didn't actually voice appreciation with anything, let alone my singing, you know, so I had to like come to a point and recognize that it's not about my singing. It was about them not being an expressive kind of person. So what I ended up doing was tapping back into that and seeing it from their eyes. I also started replacing it with positive experiences that I had had singing, where people were like, "Oh, you know, I love this song," and we would just like jam out. So you can actually start replacing negative, limiting, um, hurtful beliefs with positive ones. And it's about just imagining those experiences and anchoring yourself in that moment. And I can actually go through techniques with individuals. I do have a free gift that I'm offering in that regard, which can help you to transform your trauma into triumph and to actually get past any limiting belief you have. And it works with self confidence. That's what it's focused on. So when I was able to finally reframe that and actually start looking at it from a different perspective and recognizing it's not that they don't love my voice, it's just that they don't have a way of expressing it, you know, and that's okay. You know, not everybody is going to react the same way. Like, just because they're stonewall doesn't mean that you suck. And if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off. So there you go.
I love it. I love it. So great advice. Again, great advice. So Cynthia is suggesting that we look and have that level of awareness about the language that we're using, and we can see then that gives us space between thought and action, and we can see how our language is holding us in patterns. And she's also suggesting that we have a look at maybe some limiting beliefs that you've got on specific aspects of your life, that you look like via the timeline and have a look at where they were created and see if you can reframe those and choose different language to support a new belief in that space. Is that right, Cynthia?
Correct. Very
Yeah.
well said.
I love NLP. It's one of my favorite things. I back in the day, because I'm much older than I look, Cynthia. So back in the day when NLP was first created, it was used in some very nefarious ways at first. So I was in sales back in those days, and you know, I love the way now that the whole concept has changed and people see it in a different light, and it's seen as a healing modality, and all of those things that were attached to it before are no longer attached to it. So, and that's because of practitioners like yourself that are changing people's attitudes in and around that space. So you're not old enough to remember that, I know. Oh, that's all good. So now, can you tell us a little bit more about how you work with people? You work with them one-on-one, or you work with them in groups, and how does that look? What does that look like?
Yes. So what it looks like is, a lot of times it's about reframing your mind, shifting your patterns, taking time to start actually indulging in self-care. For women especially, what happens is that we are often trying to pour from an empty cup. and we end up having caregiver burnout, resentment. Then we feel like less than a woman. Like, why can't I even take care of my kids properly? Like, I'm not even, but it's like we're not even taking care of ourselves, So it's about recognizing, like, just when we're in an airplane, you have to put on your mask first before you save anyone else. So it's really about helping them appreciate this vessel. You talked about standing naked in front of a mirror and loving every part of yourself. That is something that I do with people. Well, not one-on-one and we're standing there. Not that that would be a great idea. It just hasn't been done. But not in my world anyway. But it's really about, just like there is, what nationality is it? Sikh. Yeah, there you go. So every morning they start out with a prayer that thanks the Lord for every part of their body, from the top of their head to the tips of their feet. And they go through every single morning thanking, the Creator for that. And I think it's so powerful. So I have people do things like that. I have them go through like different mantras. So even when you're like washing your hair, you're thanking, you're in an attitude of gratitude. And as you start adopting these new habits, it starts creating a different, pattern. Recognizing that we are what we take in. So whether that's the food we're eating, whether that's the books we're reading, whether that's the auditory, CDs, the MP3s that we're listening to, whatever we happen to take in is what we become. So I really encourage people to start really discerning, because garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you take in, you become. So, we become so consumed with this device that we forget about this device. And it's really about honoring our temple, not treating it like a trash can, treating it like a temple. So I go through different processes, the mental, the physical, the spiritual. This is all part of it. So it's about releasing the guilt, releasing a lot of the regrets that we have. As women, we tend to hold on to a lot of negative experiences that have happened and beat ourselves up. So it's about releasing that, forgiving ourselves. It's truly an act of selfishness and reframing what it means to be selfish. So actually starting to recognize that being selfish is actually a good thing. It's really important that we self-care, that we love ourselves, that we nurture ourselves, that we really treat ourselves with the respect that we deserve. And then we show others how to treat us as we start appreciating our own company. And I really encourage people to start dating themselves. Like really, like rather than, we become so focused, like I need somebody, I need to be with this partner, to save my whole life. No, it's about recognizing that we are enough as we are. We don't actually need anyone. Your cake is already full. You can be the frosting on my cake, but it is already delicious on its own. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's all about. It's about appreciating who you are to the fullest extent.
Absolutely. I love it. You're speaking my language, the language of forgiveness, the language of gratitude, and filling your own cup first so that you can serve others with that servant's heart, as this is why we're all here, to make a difference for others and to pay it forward. I love the work that you do. So when you see clients, are you working with them on Zoom or is it online?
Yeah, lately it has been online. I was doing retreats before, but with the advent of this pandemic, it has taken a Zoom experience. So we are on Zoominars, and I'm really encouraging people to connect that way. So I have Facebook platforms where people are gathered and we're talking, and then I have one-on-ones and I have group sessions, mastermind sessions. So it's truly individual, it's a smaller community, and then we do have the retreats. Once we get out of this pandemic, it will definitely happen again. Although Toronto, I don't know, we've gone back, and now we're in lockdown. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it this way. I don't know.
Wow, we are so fortunate here in South Australia. We're flying interstate, and it's like, I don't know, it's like it didn't happen. It's strange. I suppose because we're on an island and it's so isolated. Some of the states, it has hit harder than others. But it's a fascinating time to be alive. It's a fascinating time to be running a business. It's a fascinating time to be a multi-passionate entrepreneur. And I must say, for all the downside, I'm loving the upside of this entire process. It's given me a lot of time to have a look at the way I do business and shift. So it's been good. So now, how can people get in contact with you, and what's your special offer for today?
Absolutely. They can go to Cynthia360.com. Cynthia360.com. Now, that is a one-stop shop. So whether you're a WhatsApper or you're a LinkedIner or you're a Facebooker, whatever it happens to be, you can reach out to me that way. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, they all merge to become YouTwitFace. No, not really, but that's okay. All right. So I have a special offer. It's freegift.relationshifter.com. If you go to that, it has that NLP technique that I was mentioning. It is an awesome exercise to do, and I have had 100% success rate with people just taking that on and becoming, a part of that process. It's truly remarkable how it can open your mind. And really, a mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. So it is a great, opportunity to get past any kind of limiting belief you might have. And it gives you a taste of what you can expect when you work with Dr. Stu.
I love it. I love it. It's been so fantastic to talk with you, Cynthia. And I know that you'll come back and share some more information with us soon. Thank you so much for your time, effort, and energy. We'll make sure those links are put in the chat so people can reach out to you. And so I want to say thank you so much, Cynthia, for coming. And we'll put all of your links up so everyone can get in contact with you. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Bye for now. Now, thank you so much for watching, guys. We've got Ali coming back and Rose coming back, and we want to talk to you about our upcoming event. We're very excited. I also wanted to mention that Trisha mentioned in the chat that her problem is that I get lonely and then I start to eat myself up. Now, Trisha, I think I'm saying that right, even though I've got my glasses on, I might not be reading it correctly. The problem is I get lonely and then I start to eat myself up. So, Cynthia mentioned it. It's about reaching out to others. Now, there are lines that you can ring, like Helpline and all of those lifelines and everything in that space. The other thing is just to reach out to a friend or a member of the family and just have a conversation. It's okay to be not okay. That's what Are You Okay Day is all about. So reach out and ask someone, have a conversation, and remember you're not alone. There's billions of people on this planet. We're all here together and we're all going through the process together. So, hey, Tricia, if you want to reach out to me, you can find my telephone number. I'm all over the internet. Charlene Lynch, give me a buzz. I'd love to have a chat with you. And if you're local, we'll have a coffee. Okay, now I know Rose is going to jump back on, and so is Ali. They can't be very far away. We're going to share with you guys a little bit about our upcoming event. I also did want to mention our amazing sponsors. Hello, how are you girls?
Good, hello.
Okay, so Rose, can I get you to tell us a little bit about, just in a few minutes or a minute, about our sponsors? And then Ali, can you tell everyone about our amazing event that we've got coming up and about the location? Go.
Okay, so the show is sponsored by MyTimeTV.live and BeLive TV. So they're our major sponsors, and they allow us to live stream to you every week. And our sponsor for the Pamper Day is the City of Sturt in Adelaide in South Australia, and they have generously offered one of their community centres for the day. And I think we did show some video of that early on in our show, which started, I think, in May. So yeah, it's a great centre, and we're so looking forward to getting everyone involved. We have a huge lineup of exhibitors for the day that will be offering, so much. Yeah, so thank you to the City of Sturt for offering that facility for us.
That's fantastic, Rose. And so Ali's just going to tell us a little bit about the building, because she's been down there to have a look-see. So, guys, if you're listening to this and you are a person who wants to make a difference for other humans, if you are passionate about the space of domestic violence and family violence, and you want to make a difference and create a soft place for these women to land and then reach out. Regardless of what it is that your business does, reach out, because we need assistance in all sorts of areas, serving tea and coffee on the day, helping in the op shop. We also need people to help with different services. So just reach out to Healing Through Love. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us everywhere, including YouTube. We're all over the place. So Healing Through Love, we're easy to find. Or if you know Rose, myself, or Ali personally, just give us a poke and we'll head you in the right direction. Ali, can you tell us a little bit about the building?
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to have this Pamper Day so everyone can see this building. So it is 19 on Green at Brompton. And when I went there earlier this year, it had actually literally just been refurbished. So it's very modern. It's got lots of different little rooms where we can have, different little modalities going in. There's a big room. I can't tell you how excited I am to have the Pamper Day. So 19 on Green, and as Rose said, thank you very much for them for sponsoring this event, because they are providing this event for free, this place for free, which we are so very grateful for. So yeah,
we're so excited. Thank you, Ali. Thank you for joining us today. If you'd like to be involved in Healing Through Love as either an exhibitor or a volunteer, or you'd like to come along as a participant, join us on our Facebook page, Healing Through Love SA, or email us at htladelaide@gmail.com. Be sure to join us again next week at 1 o'clock. Bye for now. See you then.